This video is sponsored by Vessi. Well, Hezbollah and Israel seems to have awoken a fear inside the Chinese people, and that is, what if all of these American-made devices suddenly explode after China goes to war? And that's basically the latest rumor surrounding the iPhone with its new launch of the 16 line, as well as Tesla cars. It's a mixture of public opinion, rumors, and just false assumption that people are basically so worried that these phones are just going to explode. By the way, they haven't exploded for the past decade or so since iPhone's been launched in China, but that they will, and so people are smashing up their iPhones.
前两天把那个苹果14还有苹果13给敲了哈，这两个手机给敲了。今天又把这个苹果十几啊，这是12还是13，闺女用的，给敲了哈，敲7、8岁了。然后那个等会把孩子的 iPad 给他敲了，把孩子爸的苹果14一会儿给敲了。这个奶奶用的苹果给他敲了。
I mean, they already had exploding mooncakes not too long ago. What's one more thing that would explode, right? This wasn't just some random crazy thought. Basically, after Hezbollah and their walkie-talkie and pagers had exploded simultaneously, the rumor started to question iPhones as people were doing these internal looks of the battery, the new hardware, right, of the 16, and they found that the new battery is steel-cased. And this prompted to a rumor saying that these new type of battery are very prone to explosion or exploding. You can do things like remote detonation. Now, allegedly, according to Chinese articles, Apple had responded saying that under normal circumstances, it won't explode. I just haven't found any English article referring to the Apple statement, so I wasn't even sure if that's true or not. Classic, right? The evil American empire is trying to use such a low method of unaliving a massive amount of people in China. Now, videos like this claim that after looking into the battery and components of the iPhone, it contains something called pentazolate, which apparently is more powerful than TNT and is used to make things go kaboom. And because me and many others who are not experts on explosives would be easily fooled, and that's basically how the rumor got started. So what they're doing is claiming the white particles inside of these devices are explosives. And other influencers claim that because iPhones can do remote updates where they solve some battery issues, they can do the opposite, which is to remotely heat up the battery and components to make the device explode. And the new fear, like I said, has turned people absolutely crazy. Last year, remember, people were panic buying salt because of the Fukushima water release. This year, it seems people are panic smashing their iPhones. And they're not just doing it to the 16, they're smashing the 15, the 14, the 13. That's why I find it pretty funny, because these phones didn't explode for the past decade or so they've been out. And suddenly now this fear becomes a reality. Before we continue with today's episode, let me introduce to you our sponsor for today's video, Vessi. If you're like me, who loves to wear the same pair of shoes forever and is always hunting for the best shoe that has three things, which is comfort, style, and most importantly, quality, then Vessi's new urban style Courtside Classic is the right shoe for you. The classic look of the Courtside Classic goes really well with any combination: in the office, work meetings, business casual, long pants or short. Let me tell you about my experience with the Courtside Classic. Over the weekend, I first did a work meeting on Friday, then I took the Courtside Classic to the streets of New York City and into the subway. I did about 5 hours in Lower Manhattan, strolling around the river, just enjoying the scenery and the sunset. First of all, because of the extra support, my feet were not hurting at all. And I have wide feet, so many sneakers are quite tight for me in the front, but the Courtside Classics were comfortable in that part too. Like I said, they go really well with any combination of outfits. The soft vegan leather upper gave me agility, while the anti-slip rubber sole ensured I was ready for all aspects of the urban terrain. And my feet were thanking me after the long day, for sure. Thank you to Vessi. So make the most out of your city life with the vintage-style comfort sneakers, the Courtside Classics. Discover more fantastic styles at vessi.com/DavidZhang. Get your pair today and get an automatic 15% off your first pair purchase at checkout. And be ready to stay cool and dry. Plus, if you really think about the technicality, right? Even if some of the iPhone production and Apple production has moved out of China to India, you still make certain parts in China. Part of that production is still in China. I think even the battery is made by a Chinese company. So it's quite ironic that they would think it's going to explode when in fact the very component they're worried about might actually be from a Chinese company. Stuff is still being made in China. How would the US government plant an explosive device within the system during its production? Like, if you really think about it, if the real goal of the US government is to unalive Chinese people as they claim, wouldn't it actually make more sense for them to plant something within a Huawei device?
最后给我讲出来就是手机没问题，说手机崩成多样了，它没问题。小米手机成两下卖汽车的，要卖要17。3月9号晚上听到砰的一声，孩子正玩着掉了，少一颗螺丝，就是说这个机子是不是拆过有维修记录？我是相信
质量问题没有办法给予处理，这个也是。
And, just the fact that people will be fooled into thinking that, oh no, you have to buy Huawei because that's the domestic brand, etc. And it makes people less, I guess you would say, defensive about the device. And in turn, it actually make the Huawei devices a better target for explosion. And because Huawei just released their triple fold device to compete against the iPhone launch, it naturally makes sense that people are using this opportunity, this rumor, to stir up this idea that you gotta buy Huawei instead of iPhones. And some of the stuff gets pretty ridiculous. The sign reads, if you hold an iPhone 16, you can't enter the store. And many influencers online claim that you better replace your iPhones because when the war breaks out between US and China, you don't want to be caught with a device that can be remotely detonated. And this one famous blogger says immediately after the Hezbollah situation, he replaced all of his family's devices with Huawei instead of the iPhone. If you really think about the Tesla talk is even more ridiculous because we've seen so many videos of domestic-made electric vehicles, Chinese brands, that just go up in flame, right? These are closely combustible purchases, CCP.
看到没有？这就是你们心目中的电瓶车，你看啥子
？That every Chinese person seems to be buying, and yet we're seeing so many of these domestic ones go up in flames. So I guess pictures and videos really do tell the real story here, no matter how much they claim that Tesla is going to be a potential weapon. I even read this comment online saying that there's no way to avoid it. You walk down the street, there's so many Teslas that it's bound to become an explosive weapon. But of course, we're not kidding ourselves when we say it's delusional to think that iPhones and Teslas are going to be more explosive than those domestic ones. Now, like I said, one of the reasons that they need to boost the fear and nationalism is because of the sales of the Huawei device has already dropped and problems have already surfaced 1 month into the use, right? So the product launch was about a month ago. We already seen screens that have been broken, like this video here.
插题你们都见过吧？但你这台没见过。坏了啊！坏了。啊，所以说这玩意儿消防你买这玩意儿得买碎冰险。
And also in this video as well. And scalpers, they've had to reduce prices of the once really popular and really expensive phone. Now, at one point, the triple fold was selling at about 42,000 US dollars. The price has since come down dramatically from an average of 14,000 US dollars to just 500 something US dollars. And scalpers are saying things like, if you want to buy it, the prices are constantly changing, aka reducing, and I will always have supply. Whereas if you're trying to sell the phone, well, I'm definitely not buying it from you. So amidst this very turbulent period, very explosive in terms of emotions, I would say that let's just calm down and nothing's going to explode, and especially not the phones that we've been so accustomed to for the last decade or so, that is the iPhone or Tesla, and really just think about what is the real reason this is being turned into a viral point in China. Anyways, let me know your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And thanks for watching this video. Until next time, bye-bye.